Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Got a little rainfall going on this morning, and some of you might have some pretty serious weather today, so certainly be ready for that. You've probably, at least some of you have already experienced it, but got some weather coming in, and I was looking next week here in the Ozarks. It's gonna be cold, like teens for the high during the day, single-digit lows at night. So you should probably start getting ready if you haven't been getting ready already, because, well, it looks like it's getting cold, especially here throughout the Midwest, where a lot of you are at, I know. How many of you seen this poll that's come out in the last few days? This poll is asking people, what do they think that World War III is going to happen? Do they think that it's going to happen? And it's interesting, if you look at this, it's a majority of the people. But this isn't just America. They polled people in 33 different countries. See this? 33 different countries. Interesting that there's always that 3-3 number. They just love that 3-3. It sends messages. It must just be comforting for them. Anyways, this is they polled people in 33 different countries, asking them if they thought World War III would happen. And in every country, at least more than 50% of the people said, yeah, they believe so. America stood at 76%. Which was close to the middle. The highest was Australia, and the lowest number was Japan at like 51% or something like that, which indicates that, well, a majority of the world believes that World War III is going to happen. But here's the interesting, this is where I want to kind of focus in on this. The question was, do you think World War III could happen within the next 25 years? Well, when you stretch it out that far, I would say the majority of people, even people that don't think that anything's going to happen anytime too soon, would say, well, yeah, in 25 years, it's possible. It's possible. So while on the surface, this poll sounds like, oh my goodness, the vast majority of the population of the world believes that World War III is about ready to happen, so it must be so. The reality, that's not exactly what's being said here. It's that, do you think World War III could happen within the next 25 years? And the majority of the planet, at least in these countries, say, yeah, I think it's possible. Where I want to take this is that I believe, and probably a lot of you believe, that World War III is probably going to happen a lot sooner than 25 years. We may only be months or just a few years away from it. But the rest of the world, if they were asked that question, I'm sure the numbers would be much, much smaller. And that's because, well, it's just kind of a human trait to believe that something could happen, but put it off till tomorrow or the next day or some point in the future. We procrastinate. We, a dollar could collapse. If you ask the majority of them, if you asked Americans, do you think that the United States dollar could at some point in the future collapse? Probably the majority of them would say, yeah, at some point it probably could. If you ask them, in the next 6 months, 12 months, could we see a collapse of the dollar or the forcing of a digital currency? It'd probably be a lot less. And that just seems to be how we are as human beings. It's not really even an American trait, and this poll probably helps indicate that it's not just an American thing. It's just a human trait that we understand that bad things could happen. We get it. Yeah, is there at some point in your life, could you, wreck your car or total it? Well, yeah, probably. Well, you think you should carry insurance on it? Well, not unless I have to, that's just how we are. It's unfortunate that the majority of people are that way. Think about it. If 5 years ago, I had taken a poll amongst however many people and asked them, do you think that we are on the brink of a massive worldwide pandemic that will cause the vast majority of the world to be locked down, hundreds of thousands of people die, forced, rules, forcing businesses to shut down and schools to close and people to be locked in their homes and people's individual rights taken away and the Constitution trampled on. If you had asked that question 5 years ago and asked if it was going to happen soon, the majority of the people would have said, oh, no, not soon. I mean, it could happen. It could easily happen at some point, maybe in my lifetime or my children's lifetime, but it's not going to happen soon. Even Russia invading Ukraine, right up pretty much until the moment that it was known that Russia was invading Ukraine, there was still a lot of people, even though there was tons and tons of intel indicating that it was going to happen, there was still so many people that said, no, it's not going to happen. There were people in the news, people you knew all over, here on YouTube, all kinds of people were saying, no, it's never going to happen. Not going to happen. Maybe some point in the future, but it's just not going to happen. And yet it does. The point that I'm getting to with all this is that we as preppers, as prepared-minded people, we have this hurdle to overcome, this natural instinct for some reason to procrastinate and to put things off, that we know things are going to be bad. We know that this great reset stuff's going to happen. We know that the Agenda 2030 stuff's going to happen, but that's, that's years down the road. We've got plenty of time. I know I need to be stocking up on food, but I've got all this other stuff, and I'll worry about that next year, or maybe the next year, or the year after that. That's kind of typical with most Americans, with most people. And so we have that kind of natural hurdle to overcome. We can't be prepared if we're constantly putting off our getting prepared. That means that if something happens between now and then, you're not prepared. I mean, it's simple. We don't have to. I don't think I have to draw a picture for you with that one. And so, for those of you that are actively getting prepared, and you're, I know this stuff's going to happen. I believe it. I don't deny it one bit. Every time I watch your videos, I agree. Yes, it's going to happen. But I've still got some time. I could, I've got this other stuff I need to be doing. We're wanting to go on this vacation next summer, and right now I'm just putting all my money and effort into getting ready for that. And then after that vacation, maybe we'll start our prepping, I've got this job that I'm at, this new job, and I'm really kind of putting focus on that, or we're really wanting to buy this car, and so that's really where we're focused right now. Now, once we get that done, then we'll get to prepping. If you do that, you're setting yourself up for a big danger. Again, going back to the car insurance. How many people would carry? I mean, I hate it that it's required by law to have car insurance. I just don't like any type of requirements by law, but I do get it, because if there was no law to have car insurance on your vehicle to drive it, how many people would actually have their cars insured? There'd be a lot of people that would not. And then they probably also would not have the financial ability to cover any kind of, injuries or damage in a wreck. And so how many times would car wrecks happen and there would be no one insured to cover all the expenses and damages? This is just how it would be. I mean, there's people today that are supposed to legally have car insurance, and they still do not do it. We cannot allow ourselves as preppers to fall into that. I get it. We have a life to live. We have families to take care of. We want to, while we still can, live a life to the fullness and build and create memories and relationship bonds and basically in the end have a good time. I mean, because we have to keep doing that. But we also have to understand that times are changing, and they're changing quite rapidly. We can't get caught up in complacency and get into this sense of, yes, it's getting bad, but we've still got time. It's not that bad. The end hasn't happened yet. No, when the end happens, it's too late. it's too late to prepare. You have to be preparing ahead of time. You have to be doing the things now to get yourself ready for it. Because if you think that World War III is going to happen within the next 25 years, so you're going to wait until you're 23 to start getting prepared, you're probably going to end up in a real bad way. Folks, we have to be serious about this. The world around us has changed. It's not changing. It has changed. It has changed. Laws have changed. The value of our currency has changed. The inflation and the consuming of our wealth, the middle class and even the working class wealth has been consumed by massive amounts. All kinds of stuff. Rights have been trampled on. People have died. People have lost their homes, their jobs, their businesses, just in the last couple of years. All because of this massive, rapid global change that's moving us to a new era. And so we can't keep sitting back and saying, well, it's not too bad. I mean, the last time I went to the grocery store, I still was able to get groceries. I mean, sure, I paid more for them, and there were things that were out I couldn't find, but I still got groceries. I mean, I've still got food in the pantry, and I can still sit down at night and watch my silly TV shows. I could still go to a football game. There's still some normalcy. Well, there most likely will always be normalcy, at least a semblance of it. But that doesn't mean that they're not continually trampling on our rights, on our way of life, and on what we want to have for our future, for our families. It is being destroyed. It is being changed, and it's being done rapidly. And at some point, there is becoming a stronger and stronger possibility that we will experience a collapse. A collapse completely, totally, or a collapse in certain, areas of our society. And so we have to be getting prepared for that now. Because if you wait until the time comes, well, then it's too late, folks. You can't prepare for something after it's happened. By that time, you're just in survival mode. And for the most part, you'll be surviving with whatever you have. And I know that when I talk like this, it sounds like I'm only pushing for things, for food, supplies, things. And that's not it. When I say prepare, you need to be preparing up here too. And you need to be preparing here. Because that's the greatest tools that you have is your mental preparedness and your spiritual preparedness. Once you have those down, the physical stuff is going to be pretty easy. The bottom line is that now more than ever is the time. If you haven't started or if you're not to where you need to be getting serious about it. I'm not saying you need to go mortgage your house and sell everything you own and, cut off all relationships because of what you're doing. But I am telling you that it needs to be serious. You need to be taking advantage of the moments that we still have left to where you can stock up or you can sell your home and buy a little, homestead, or that you can get around and get the tools, things like boomsticks and bullets that you need. Because at some point, there's a very likely chance that it all could be taken away and it could all be very difficult to get. And that point in the future may not be 25 years away. It could only be months, maybe just a few years away. And so take the time that you have now and put into your preparedness, because it's just like that insurance policy on your car. That's all preparedness is. You're purchasing and you're working towards an insurance policy so that someday when that car wreck happens, you're not left with all the financial liabilities for a car wreck and someone's injuries and all the damage to the vehicles. You have an insurance policy that steps in and takes care of it. That's what prepping is. So folks, I know holidays are coming. People want to stay home and spend time with the family, and that's where they're focused, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't mean that you put away the idea of being prepared. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.